Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Feeling and Healing podcast. I am your host, Danielle Z, MFT in the making, motivator, and mental health maven. And today I am so happy to welcome Caleb Nelson. He is also a fellow coach. He is the host of Naked Sunday podcast, and he's also a performance coach, and he works with high impact entrepreneurs and business leaders to get them out of burnout and really reach their full potential. So thank you so much for being here, Caleb.
Danielle, I'm fucking hyped. Let's go. I should have probably cleared it. Am I allowed to swear here? I was
You
like,
could. I'm from New Jersey, Caleb. You
let's
like
go. Let's
fuck is
go.
every other word here. You're from New York, so we're basically the same breed.
There we go.
So I know we were just chatting about this, and as a coach, you've been in the industry for 17 years, have seen a lot that's been going on, but I would just love your perspective on kind of today's world and the importance of investing in yourself. Because as I just mentioned, we live in this very fast-paced, dopamine hit, like very highly prescribed world where, we just want that quick, I get it. We want that quick fix for a problem, but I think you've learned in your life you have to dig a little deeper in order to get a return on your investment. So just, I guess, just talk about your experience with your clients, yourself, investing in yourself, and what returns you have gotten in your life.
Yeah, so I'll go right to the root of why people don't. I work with
Well,
a
I
lot
can tell you why. I can tell you why people don't too.
of I work with a lot of women, especially I work with a lot of women like between 40 and 50 and
Mm,
late 30s to early 50s, somewhere's in there.
okay.
And it's just guilt. I feel
Mm,
guilty being the priority. That
mm,
was back in the day when I was coaching fitness. Same thing. Oh my God, I'm going to spend all this money. I'm going to go to this place. I'm going to be away from my kids. Blah, 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 blah.
mhm.
It happens with the dads too. As somebody who is a coach, I'm a father. I'm literally sitting in my daughter's room right now. So if anybody wants to see all the pink and all that other shit around me, like I'm sitting in my 1 year old's nursery room and I am
Aw.
just living. But it's the guilt that I'm going to make myself a priority. And there's a fear underneath that of like, well, what if it doesn't work out? And I was like,
Mm,
well, that's not true. And if you don't consider this, like your capacity eventually, you eventually reach this capacity where your old identity and your old skill set cannot guide the people that you love so much to the next phase in their life. You're actually staying in the way of them growing. So it's an
mm,
interesting way of, if we want to jump right to how you break that, it's like use your guilt complex like for yourself. Wow,
mm.
I am stopping my kids from maturing and growing as an adult because, as every parent eventually realizes, your kids do a lot more of what they're watching and witnessing you do than what you say and tell them to do. Speaking of which, I have like a little mirror that pitter patters around me all day long. She's on the phone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on my phone too much. She
Mm.
pushed it the other day. She mimics my wife with coffee, making, she just got a little espresso thing. That's like a toy espresso thing.
Aw.
She's making espresso. Goes, I'm like,
Because your wife drinks espresso, yeah.
oh, and then I'm like, are we setting the wrong message of like be caffeinated to the nines from one
Be
year?
caffeinated and on the phone all the time.
Yeah, but we were talking. You were bringing up beforehand. Why is the older generation typically hesitant to spend the money on that? Well, it's because the return is not yet like tomorrow.
Yes.
Like from like the big number, I made a bunch of money, especially women. Like there's these weird guilt, shame constructs underneath that is saying, well, I can't do this, even though you're basically waiting for somebody else's permission to become the best version of yourself. I can tell every woman out there right now, if you're struggling with this, as somebody who preaches this shit to my wife every day, honey, if you're happier and healthier and make my life more joyous and loving and whatever, because we're like in it together, spend whatever you need, baby. Like we all win. Every husband who really gets out of his own ego eventually realizes truly happy wife, truly happy life. That's different than saying, oh, just buy whatever car and buy like
Yes.
tchotchke shit. You want to go invest in improving yourself and your communication in our marriage and parenting and all that stuff. Sign me up.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Tell me what you learned. Tell
Yeah.
me. As you can probably hear the knocking at the door. Little one is like,
Oh,
let me in, Daddy.
it's okay. She can come in.
Um,
She can be a
she's
guest.
she's on a tear right now. We just went mall walking with my father-in-law, and we stopped in the bookstore. We got Mickey toys and new. We're having a
Oh,
day
okay.
right now. We're having a
Oh,
day.
good, good, good.
Um, but they're especially the older generations, we're millennials, you and I, and the older generations, therapy, coaching, the inner work stuff was taboo. It was seen
You're
as
right.
weakness. It
Absolutely.
was seen as self-indulgent. It was seen as what's the word? Uh, it was just seen as soft,
Mm,
and not realizing that actually long term creates so much more wealth and prosperity because it brings a team and it brings leadership together. And throughout history, the most
hmm
successful people, the secret is always they hired people, that coaches, whatever you want to call them, to help them sort out the bullshit that was in their head, that was the brain fog that was stopping them from seeing the obvious answers right in front of them. Like, it's right
Yep.
there. So that's the long and short of it. I don't even know where I started on that one, but here you go. There's some thoughts
No,
in my head right
no,
now
no.
for
I
you.
think, but I think you made a great point there that, and I always say, like, as a coach and as a therapist in training, like, I will always have a team around me of people trying to make me better. I'm in this world, and how can you expect to get the most out of yourself and get the most out of life without a team? Because I have blind spots. I have many blind spots that I see, but like I actually just did. I'm sure you would have liked this. It's my end of year performance review on myself. I asked my like five core friends. I was like, just do me a favor, 2 minutes. Tell me an area that I grew this year, and tell me an area I need to work on. And they all got back to me, and I was like, and now I'm going to take that into the new year, being like, okay, because I wanted to see progress. And also, too, I want to change and want to make my relationships better. So there you go.
Incredible. And I love what you did. That's people who are not even intentional about creating their own advisory board are just ridiculous. It's like there's a fear that that's the other fear. You're afraid that you're going to be judged. That's
No,
that
yeah.
that's why I'm speaking to the theoretical person about taking that next step. It's like, well, no, people, here's the other thing. Most people have a really poor relationship with accountability.
Mm,
We want to go deep into psychology here. It's like you really just had a shitty relationship with your father in some way, shape, or form, whether it was a passive, like dad didn't speak up and put his foot down, like be like, here's the line, like no boundaries, not teaching you like this is also love and restraint and like you learning the value of restraint,
hmm
or completely absent or angry and violent or whatever those things. So like that person also is unreliable in and of themselves. So it's like the masculine energy typically demonstrates what accountability is, right? You have accountability, then you kind of have like that acceptance, more of a feminine, loving, warm, creative energy. It's not either or, it's both. And it's about
hmm
creating a harmonious relationship. When you put those two things together, it creates like a channel, a focused energy and direction. And until we rectify that internally, be like, this person is holding up a mirror not to say, you ugly piece of shit. It
No, 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 no.
it's saying I love you enough to say these are the beautiful things. And to really bring out even more in you, here's the things where hey, we can bring that up. You've got this. And that when people are really intentional about bringing that into their life, how do you not improve? And you said the five people, I love it. I'm all about the average of the five people because
Yep. Oh, yep, yep.
it's true. And I think you'll like this too. I say this all the time about a coach. Your coach is your first believer.
hmm
And if you think of that average of the five people, bringing your coach in, a coach just up leveled your average. The bottom one, whomever that is, it's not saying like screw them, they're out of your life.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's saying, oh, I just improved the average. and everybody needs to move up.
Everybody, yeah, everybody rises up.
Everybody rises up. So that's the type of thing. If we think, and again, be intentional about who you're bringing into your coach. This should, I say this, steal it if you want. Everybody steal whatever I say today and like claim it as your own. Hiring a coach is the right coach should feel like you're hiring your best friend. Because what's
Hmm.
your best friend do? Your best friend knows all your deep, dark secrets, so you can truly be yourself. And your best friend says, I'm going to challenge you to become the best version of yourself. They're not going to let you settle for the nonsense. So, those two things, if you can find that, they need to represent your values, they need to
Yeah.
represent similar direction, like those things. And if it feels like, yo, we get on calls every week and we just vibe, you're in the right space. It doesn't feel like burr and burr,
Yeah,
burr,
yeah, like
burr.
rigid and yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And I will say though, and I think you would agree here. I've said to my friends and because of we're in the space that we're in, we're big on growth and personal development. I've always said the person that loves you the most is the person that challenges you and pushes you to grow. And like a lot of people don't understand that because they think of it as like tough love, and I get it. But I'm like, because that person sees what you could be and wants you to become that best version of yourself. Because I think we live, and this is, I think, a great subject too, because you talked about like you're like going up the masculine and feminine energy and all this stuff. I think we also live in a world where we've also been told lies about like love and what love should feel like and what it should look like and partnership. And I'm from the camp of like similar to you and your wife, like I want to build. So like we're just building, like we have this foundation of the house. We're all bringing our bricks together. I think Jay Shetty said like he said it beautifully. He's like we're building a house, and you're gonna bring some good bricks and some bad bricks. We just hope that we bring strong, bricks to the table, and we're building. You know what I mean? We're building upon that. Um, and I guess my point being here is that I think that we discount that person that's gonna challenge us a lot of times in romantic relationships. I think we do what's comfortable. And I think that's also, in my opinion, I mean, that's just not how I want to live my life, but I think we've been taught that. Like, oh, like, do what's safe, settle down. It's like, no, I want somebody who's gonna springboard me to my next version of myself.
I love everything about that. And it's true. There
Yeah.
is has been a bastardization of what those two roles traditionally are and
Mm-hmm.
energies, right? We throw the baby out with the bathwater because, truth be told, it's easier to just sit in the victim mindset
It
and
is.
get comfortable. And like that person's bad. Are they? What's bad? What I've found, especially when it comes to coaching, the tough love thing is the thing you brought up there a second ago. What I
Mm-hmm.
found is the tough love, ironically, is solved with the money.
Mm.
Most people already know what to do. This has been my experience. Once they hand over a good chunk of change, the tone can change, right? You're going to pay one way or another. Either you're going to pay with, I'm going to say some sharp things right now because it's gotta be like if I want to get the message across and you actually want to grow, it's gonna sting a little bit. But when you
Yeah.
of your own volition bring the discomfort upon yourself to stop worshiping the money, but you worship the growth, which is in the signal and the symbolic nature of handing over money. Money is a spiritual exchange. That changes how that person on the other side approaches the situation. 99% of the time, I'm telling people, yo, be nice to yourself. Not, you got to do better. You got to, like, they're already people
Yeah.
that are so brutal on themselves that dynamic switches. So people should probably your same thing, right? Like, yo, be nice.
I'm like, have you seen me at the meetings? Kidding.
Most of it, yeah, exactly that. Most people that are high performers that hire coaches already are doing too much. They need to have permission to pare back and simplify. So those are the two things here. People that need a swift kick in the ass, like they're going to get a very different type of coach. Um, so that's just things for people to recognize in what you need at that time. Like if you're somebody who needs a fire lit under your ass every day, you and I are probably not the right people for them. Like that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. No.
dragging somebody
Yeah.
across. I'm not here to drag you across the finish line. You feel
No.
called to some shit. You want to, more often than not, they want to build their coaching brand or something like that. They want
Yeah.
very personalized, like this is all of me being offered into the world. I'm a little bit afraid of just like the world taking that. Okay, cool. But like you're pulled towards it. You can't stop it. That person needs like, yo, be nice to yourself. Yo, chill out. Yo, stop trying to take on everybody else's stuff. It's a different vibe. The truly victim like needs a kick in the ass, like, hey, you're not showing up at all for your family. You suck. But like that's a different,
Yeah, that's
completely
a
different,
different type of coach. Yes. And
different
then
type.
I would also argue, not argue, because I couldn't argue with you. I think we've very shared shared views.
Same,
I
same.
would say that a lot of times in my experience with like the person that needs the swift kick in the ass, you brought up something before about like parenting and history, and that's this is my family therapist brain going off, but those it's a lot of healing that it's not as like pushing forward and like, oh, I need to you have to look in and you have to look at those wounded parts of yourself and be like, why am I showing up like this? What are the patterns in my life that I'm not learning that the universe is keeping showing to me and I'm just not learning because that what you resist will persist and it will scream at you until I mean until you listen. And sometimes, unfortunately, I've learned, even coaching or not, therapist or not, some people are put on this earth to show you what it's like, not like what it looks like if you don't grow. And that scares the shit out of me, but that's just some people's journey.
And that's hard
Yeah.
because especially when you have helper nature in you, you want
Hmm.
it's also very easy to slip into savior on everything. And if anybody ever wants to go check out Cartman's drama triangle, that like will change the way you look at everything with everything. So if you are stuck in a burnout cycle, it's because you identify, well, let me change this. I'll use like basic terms for it. There's three parts of the triangle, duh, right?
Yeah.
There's the victim and the savior, but there's the villain.
Hmm.
Most people will only identify as the villain, or pardon, as the victim or the savior, because who wants to be seen as the villain? The problem is the second you identify with any of those, you actually are all three.
Mm.
You can't not be them. And you're creating a cycle where you just rotate between all of them. And you don't, the worst part is until you realize that by when you play the savior, it's like an overbearing mom who doesn't want their baby to ever be hurt and just
Mhm.
saves them from everything. Well, you disempowered them because they need to learn how to do stuff. So later on, your kid who does, fails to launch whatever, that was on you. Like you are the villain. Hard to see the long-term effects of that, but that's the thing. Um, or people pitch themselves as like, but I'm the bad guy all the time. It's like that. I did
Mm.
this all for you. Like I cleaned the thing. Like that kind of concept. You just rotate through that because there's just a guilt shame spiral underneath that. That's the
Mm.
burnout cycle. You get stuck in like save the victim, be the victim, be the villain. Like it just boom, 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 boom. It plays out in your lifestyle. Um, so if you're and how did we have that modeled to us? Well, we had it modeled through our parents. How did that look when we were a kid? We are just replaying the thing until we
Yep.
slow down enough, which is really hard, and go, huh, that pattern's interesting. How do I
Yep.
notice that? And that's scary because then it's like, well, have I been hurting people unintentionally my entire life? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Ugh, am I a bad person? Ugh. No, you did some things, but now that you see it, what are you going to do to change it? And
Exactly.
that's hard because you're going to go revisit your wounds. You're going to go revisit your scary stories. And the trap there, as you said, about like some people are here to show you that that what it's like to not grow is also to teach you like, oh, it's not your journey to save them. You can
No.
step into empowering that all you can do is take ownership of your own path and hold space for those who want to grow. And that's hard. Whether it's
Oh, trust me, Caleb, I have learned my lessons there, my friend.
yeah,
Because it, like, I'm sure because, like, maybe I have this bad assumption of people. I know you shouldn't assume, but I just assume that everybody, I'm like, if you got a choice either to stay the same or change or be better, I'm like, what, there's, to me, there's no, I'm like, it's a no-brainer. I want to be better. But some people are okay with comfortable. And I've had to like accept in my life, clients and also personally, I'm like, all right. Like, like that's your journey. That's your because you can only meet people where they have met themselves.
and it's accept if people truly believe in karma or it's meant to be, choose
Yeah.
whichever vernacular works best for
Yeah, yeah. I would
your
say fill in the blank, like whatever you believe in.
whatever spiritual religious construct you
Yeah.
abide by and the language that follows into that. If you truly believe that, you'd be okay with walking away
Mm,
because the real problem is the people that linger there, and this is takes one to know one. So same, got it. Is you actually want the credit for having saved the person. Deep down,
mm.
that little itchy part of us is like, I did it. I
But
control it.
yeah, yep, you want that. That's your ego.
That is our ego.
That's our ego coming out. Like, oh yeah, and I will be honest with you, I have a big savior complex and like the therapist part of me that like, but I've learned, and my supervisor tells me, they're like, Danielle, you can't save everybody. You can't help everybody. And I'm like, I know, but I want to. And I'm like, she's like, that's just the reality of life. You can't like, as I said, you can only, my biggest, I guess, in coaching and as a therapist is not doing more work than my clients. That is my number one, that's my Achilles heel because I think if I invest more into you that you're gonna, give me more output and that's not the way it works. Like you have to do the work. And that's what I also too. I think there's this and I wish I could come up, maybe we can come up with this on the podcast. I wish there was a better way to say like inner work without it sounding like so scary. But it is scary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's called the shadow self, whatever shadow,
Yeah, the
whatever you like.
shadow work. Yeah, shadow work. I've heard like I guess that's a softer, but like I don't know. I just like I like because I use the term inner work. Sometimes people are like, ooh, and I'm like, ooh, like, but yeah, like that's what it's called. Like I don't know what else to call it.
You call it personal development, you call it whatever you want,
True.
call it whatever you want. It's at the end of the day, the same thing here is that the main part of great coaching is knowing how to adapt the language to the person in
Yes.
front of you. So,
Absolutely.
but what's worth
Absolutely.
saying, stepping in and going back to a few statements ago, that your supervisor says, not only can you not, I want to adapt it, you can't save everybody, but not only that, you can't save anyone. You are not,
No. Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
and everybody listening, as somebody who did grow up in a cult and had somebody proclaim himself to be the next coming of Christ, be basically pitch himself as the savior. It don't work. Like eventually you actually disempower your people. And
Mm,
yes, you can get a cult-like following, you can make a lot of money, but you actually don't solve the problem. The only
no.
person that can save somebody is
It's
themselves.
themselves. Yep.
We can be help, we can guide, we can serve, and that way all we can really do is hold up the mirror. And once we can grapple with that and come to terms with that, and it's an ever going thing. Um, Ironically, the more success you actually experience, the more money flows your way because you stop controlling the outcome. You're letting the outcome be. It might not happen the way you thought or wanted it exactly to play out, but all the things that you eventually needed or wanted, like you truly wanted, actually show up. And that's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Uh,
Yeah.
we want we want to control everything because we're afraid of dying. That's ultimately what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah,
So,
basically trying to survive.
yeah,
We're just our brains are wired to survive, our nervous system, we're trying to just like stay alive, which I get. Like, of course, I love life and all that the gifts that has to offer. But you made a great point I found in my own life once you surrender and you're just like you let it go, that is it's amazing what could happen when you surrender and you just are like don't hold on to it so tight. Just, let it flow. It's amazing what could happen in your life.
It's a beautiful thing. This is a visualization I had years ago that clarified this for me. We talked about
Hmm.
survival there. You ever heard the quote of like, you live two lives? The first one is, when you're born, or you're
Hmm.
born twice. The day is like you came into this world, and the second one is you realize the second
Yes,
one,
yes,
sorry,
yes, yes. Yep, yep, yep.
the day you realize you're going to die.
Yep, yep.
Basically midlife, right? Whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the number one market for coaching is right now actually 40 and 50-year-olds, specifically more 40 and 50-year-old women. That's the biggest demographic for coaching right now. Um, is because you've lived enough life, you've experienced enough pain, you've put everybody else first, and then you start to hit these blocks, and you're like, there must be something more. And when you think about this visualization, the first half of life, survival base, is like the thing in the back of our mind is don't die, don't die, don't die,
Hmm.
die. The operative word there is die. So
Hmm.
fear based, you can't not think about something. So everything underneath it all is I'm gonna die. Ah! Okay. So if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, you get food, shelter, water,
Hmm.
status, belonging, all that kind of things. We chase those things. And then we realize like that's not scratching the full itch. There's something else. The only way to look at the only way to change is to turn our back from don't die towards like I am gonna die. Oh.
Hmm.
And when you
With
ask
a
yourself,
different perspective.
well, you're looking into the darkness, you're looking into the abyss, you're accepting it's happening. And that's the let go. Okay, I'm gonna die. Once you do that, the permission you give yourself is now to ask yourself, how do I want to live? Now, that's a
Hmm.
great shift in context because that opens up everything. The really scary part is most people don't know. They've been living their
Yeah.
entire life based off of what their mom and their dad said, or their friends, or their boss, or their guru, or their whomever the hell it was. Whomever told them this is the way and the only way. I'm gonna, this supplement or that,
Yeah, yeah, that person or yeah, that teaching or whatever.
now it's saying, how do I want to deem what is successful, what is passion, what is happiness, what is fulfillment? Those are all context and like internally defined success metrics. Nobody can tell you other than you.
Other than yourself, exactly.
But if you look at
Yeah.
it this way, like when we talk inner child, it's like, well, that inner child hasn't been spoken to in decades. And now you're expecting yourself to know exactly what that's supposed to be overnight. It's like, no, 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 no. Go talk to that 10-year-old you and treat that 10-year-old you with the same respect you would any other 10-year-old, not being like, yo, you need to build a business empire on top of this 10-year-old emotional foundation. Like, that's insane. How about you mature that child to a place like, oh, well, oh, and now we can use all these skill sets that we've developed, but if none of all those skill sets mean nothing, nothing if the foundation underneath that can't withhold it. Then you said that about the building the bricks. We're building something. You have to build you first. If you don't know
Yep.
who the hell you are, as somebody who has jumped from one business to the next to the thing to whatever,
You'll just repeat the cycle.
it's a house of
It's just in
cards.
a different industry or in a different whatever.
Yep. It's the same thing as that first real breakup. Oh, he's an asshole. And you go date somebody completely the opposite. And the
But
same
it's the
thing
same, the
happens.
same, the same thing happens. Yep.
It's the same thing. And it's so hard to see that in the same way. Great. I just moved to town. Like, yeah, maybe it changed a little bit, but then the honeymoon phase wore off. Okay, there's still problems here. Well, because you and your internal problems went to the new space. It won't change. You will recreate the same friendships, the same whatever. It's going to take some time. Or slow the fuck down, look in the mirror, talk to the inner child, build the thing up, and then, oh, like you'll move on and actually grow the thing you actually want. That's hard. That's really, really hard.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people you and I have jobs because They need to feel safe enough to
Yeah.
tell somebody about it.
I would, and I know I'm a big, I'm such an IFSer. I love internal system. Everybody knows that I talk about it all the time. I do talk to your exiles, those wounded parts. You let them come to light. And I love this person told me this, and I'm using this as a metaphor, but um, in your decisions in life, they told me, they're like, you have to be like, who's driving the car, Danielle? It's like, is it your core self? Is it that wounded part from, you know, childhood? Is it the teenage, girl who like was growing up, with women and men, body image and status of, beauty and what have you, being compared to others? Like you have to realize, like when you're making decisions in your life, who's driving the car? And if it is an emotional or wounded part of you, take a step back and be like, all right, like let's dig deeper. And that you're right. Not a lot of people want to do that. I mean, there's clearly a whole industry of mental health professionals trying to help people heal those wounds daily, you know, because it's not easy.
Yeah. I want to give a caveat for anybody. So, like, be careful who you find in the mental health industry because it's important most any wellness industry, mind you. Most
Hmm.
people go into an industry unknowingly, just going in it for selfish reasons to solve their own problem.
I find that, I mean, I hate to say it, that's the reason why I went into coaching because I was like, oh, I had this experience and I don't want people to have the same experience as me because it was very painful, and I was like, I want to help
But
soothe
there's
that.
yes, and as did I. I had my own.
Yeah.
Most people would
Yeah.
never believe this, but I've struggled with confidence my entire life. Answering the question, who is Caleb Nelson? Not from what everybody else wants, but who is Caleb? Where I'm going with this is if you're not aware of why, people will play savior in those
Mm,
roles. And the system is set up to reward that. So, like,
mm.
how am I going to use this? The insurance based model.
Oh, yeah.
This
Talk about
is
a
going to,
broken.
yeah,
Talk about broken.
it's going to piss off a lot of people. What I'm about to say. So we had a
Okay.
chiropractic. Oh, I'm fine with it now. This
Yeah.
nowadays.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, piss him off.
I'm coming.
I don't
I'm
care.
coming. I'm coming to it. That's great. We had a chiropractic clinic. So we had originally when we brought in on my second, we'll call it wellness center or whatever. We had chiro, massage, whatever. Anyway, we
Hmm.
were billing insurance.
Hmm.
And what you realize is insurance is just it's one too many voices in the room. They actually dictate treatment more than people want to realize. And
Yeah.
what it rewards when you think of somebody who comes out of school and they probably just took on a massive amount of debt, they have a big loan payment to pay off. They're trying to figure out how to make money quickly. They don't have a business sense. So they're just like, what's the fastest way to do it? Here's the simplest way. Bill, 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 bill. The model is built not on healing people, it's built on keeping people coming back.
Yep.
So, and it's not to say it's not valuable because that's the access
No,
people have for the
of
time.
course.
There will come a moment where if you feel like you're just going back every week and talking about the same damn thing and you're just spinning your wheels, you've arrived at the moment where you're going to have to go more for a cash-based process because it's the pain of investing in the next level of growth.
Mm.
Not every, if not almost none, of the therapists out there will acknowledge that because it's their financial safety and stability that is rewarded from maintaining that system. And it's unconscious. They're not even consciously aware of it. It's their own inner work that they are avoiding because they're in a position of authority to admit that they might be doing it wrong. It facilitates people staying in the victim.
Oh, 100%. There's actually a whole book that I'm reading, because I have very limited interest. It's called Bad Therapy, by Abigail Schreier. It's that concept exactly. It's like we talk about that actually, like she says, especially with children, she's like, we perpetuate these mental health disorders because we're having them sit and talk about like their depression, their anxiety, and it's like we're not moving them forward. And I will argue too, because as a coach and a therapist, I'm like, there's different versions of me. Of course, like. I'm not going to push somebody if they need to process emotions, but a good therapist will challenge you. Um, if if you just want to, that's not me. If like a good therapist will, that's the whole point of therapy is to change, is to navigate people through change. I mean, and I always say this to people too, you shouldn't have a lifelong relationship with your therapist. The whole point is for me to give you the tools so you can go out in your life, even as a coach. I don't want to be your coach forever. You might level up. We might be at different places in your life, in life. Like I want you to have the tools so you can do this on your own. I don't want you to always be dependent on me. Even though that financially, yes, that'd be wonderful. But like I want you to prosper and grow on your own and pave your own path,
Yes.
you
It's hard
know?
to tell people that, but that's also like most people don't even do a deep dive into how these things came about. Like there was two schools that kind of were emerging, and we chose the one that is easier to bill long term, and that was like the Freudian kind of avenue. But then there was the Adlerian, which is more accountability, agency, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's not like keep the it. But the funny part is though, this is the thing. If somebody sets out truly as a business
Hmm.
to put themselves out of a job. And I would challenge any coach who's listening to this right now. If your goal is not to put yourself out of a job with that client, you have not figured out what the problem is. You actually don't know what you're after. And it's because you're afraid of not making enough money. That's it. Once you shift that perspective, you will make so much more money because people will actually pay to feel good for the rest of their life and have that agency and that sense of internal freedom. That's like it's the golden ticket. But it's
High you can't buy.
a high you can't buy. That's a
That's
great.
like I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, they're like, oh, I'm like, you don't understand when I wake up in the morning and because I went through my own journey to get here. This didn't happen overnight, and there was a lot of falling down and a lot of failure and a lot of inner work and healing and added to everything. But like, I'm like that. I've gotten to this point in my life, and I still have more to go. Like life keeps lifing. Like I know, but it's that I've finally found like it. Like, and I'm so lucky, Caleb. I thank like whatever you want to fill in the blank, the universe, source, creator, God, whatever you want to say. I'm so grateful. I'm like, because I could have went my whole life and not found this at all. And that scares the living daylights out of me. That like people walk through this earth their whole lives on this physical world that we live in, and they have not done anything for themselves or, listen to their inner voice.
But that's also the reason why I think this age of the personal brand is really powerful
Hmm.
because people are having more, as much as the social media thing has given rise to plenty of mental health stuff, blah blah blah. Fine. It's easier to focus on the negatives of what something new brings to the table because it's different. And look, problem. What it's also asking us to do now is like say somebody else did the thing and it's at scale. There's many people doing their own thing and have found a way to make a live to earn money because I think make a living is a silly term. Like to live a life where you earn money doing the thing you were made to
Thing
do.
that you love, yeah.
I would even go say like your divine purpose.
Yeah,
The full expression of that inner God, whatever you want to call it. And that's a real hard thing to say. I'm that powerful. That divinity within me is going to be fully expressed in the world. Am I? I think actually, deep down, most people are actually afraid of that. I am that powerful. I don't know if I'm a good steward of that power.
mm,
So they won't actually put it out there. I don't think I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of using this and then hurting people with this power because I haven't protected I haven't learned how to use it. Right? Great power comes great responsibility.
absolutely, yeah.
And as somebody who's failed with power several times, thank God I didn't get more power underneath me. That is a real thing. Especially if you genuinely care about people, you're not just a psychopath or a Sociopath, pardon.
Sociopath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or both at the same time,
Oh
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. They do they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, there's usually a little overlap sometimes. So, yeah, I think this time is giving rise to the fact like there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
But what the I think one of the sadder things that exists is that the reality is most people don't want a lot of options. They want the perception that they have choice. Most people.
Mm.
Because once you have choice over everything, you're like, oh, I'm 100% responsible for this. Yikes.
That's
Oh,
a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
yes, that's a lot of pressure. And I think that's the reason why predominantly this type of work, coaching on this level, life coaching at this level, whatever that is around the midlife, the 30 to 50, it's you're going to deal with people who have succeeded in spite of, not because of
Mm.
their own stuff. But that's enough confidence to say, well, I've got all these skills. If I just kind of tweak this the right way and I just
Yeah,
figure out
repackaged it a little bit. Yeah.
just a repackaging. Yes, the
Hmm.
repackaging is hard because it has to fit you like a glove, and that will take some time. The way I associate it with my clients, I'm always like, think about this like going to college for yourself. You're getting a doctorate in yourself. And I was like, well, that seems like a really long time. Okay, let's zoom out. Ask the question, how much longer do you want to live? Which that's a
Yeah.
hard question. I've yet to get anything less than 30 years. It's usually 40 to 50. Okay, you are going to live a whole nother
A
life.
whole nother life, pretty much. Yeah, a whole nother life. Yep.
You're not willing. You spent all this money on a thing that's not you, and you were successful. Now
Imagine if, yep, yep.
imagine now what would life look like? And you have a running head start with all these other resources and all the other advantages and the connections and the blah, 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 blah. So if you think about taking, let's call it the first 3 years, it's like freshman year of college, you go off,
Yeah, you got your like your prerequisite or what is it, your gen ed courses, like like
you're getting your foundation in who are you. And then yeah, the next year it's kind of the same thing. You sharpen it a little, you tweak it a little bit. The third year you sharpen, you tweak it. But usually by the time you're a junior, like I kind of got this figured out. In senior
yeah,
year, maybe like whatever. But in the difference here is you're going for your doctorate and your postdoc in yourself, and that never stops until the end. And it's like, well, you might you hated learning about other people's stuff, but nobody doesn't love learning about themselves. Everybody wants to talk about themselves. Let's be fucking real. So why wouldn't you just keep going doing the thing you love that you can't shut up about anyway? Oh, well now it seems like a really reasonable investment and I'll make money along the way.
yeah,
Hey, well, isn't that interesting? It's not just waiting to the end of my degree to then maybe get a job to then
yeah.
maybe make some money. Like, no,
Work for working for somebody else again on their terms, and yeah,
it's right now and you can make more immediate impact. Yeah, it's a little slower. Yes, it's going to require some lifestyle change. You're tired of doing. You've done, I associate a lot of things to fitness challenges, right? You've done the 6 week challenge. You've done the 12-week new year, new you. You've done all that stuff. You realize it's going to take a lot longer to fully integrate all this stuff. Okay, give yourself permission, take some time, know who you want to be in that relationship with as well. Like that's important. If you
mm.
know yourself enough, like if you feel anxious and like this gut feeling like this person is, I don't want that every time you see them on social media, but everybody else is doing it, chances are it's not who you want.
Well,
If
yeah, you have to be authentic to yourself.
you have to be authentic, but that
Yeah,
person in front of you should also have a semblance of what you actually want. Do they look comfortable in their own skin? I say this all the time, or not all the time. I'm saying a lot more recently. That's probably better. There's plenty of coaches out there that are smart, and I've hired them, I've used them, whatever, but they didn't want kids. Yeah, they know how to make money, but they don't want kids. Now, sure, I could go learn a bunch of stuff, but if they don't have a concept of how to integrate having a family and what that dynamic looks like, and then also thinking
Yeah,
about
'cause it's different.
it's a very different thing. And you think also differently about legacy. You think about
Yep. Impact. Yep.
a very different level of impact. It's so much more intimate. It's not scale like this, though you can. It's
Yeah.
very deep. You have to be very clear. So that's important. I have a kid. I look to people who have kids to listen to their advice because you have
Of
to
course.
but your kid's going to impact your business. And somebody who's never had a kid doesn't know what that feels like. I thought my kid was going to be a detriment to my business. That's like a real thing before we had her. I'm like, how am I going to fit her in my life? Then I was like, fuck that. I'm going to bring my kid around.
Integrate. Yeah.
She's going to be on business calls. She's going to be on the podcast. She's going to be in stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and on the flip side, other parents go, I that was so much more chill. Like, could we just do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a permission thing. And I think that if people don't think about those kinds of things. It's easy to say, look at that person. They've got millions and bajillions of dollars, and this is the thing. Okay. Make sure, is their marriage solid? Okay. Or are they just single? Okay. What's going on there? Do they have a family? Do they have work-life balance, whatever that means? How does the family structure work? How do they talk about legacy? How do they speak? That how does their more importantly, how does their spouse talk about them?
Oh, yeah. That's a big one. That's a big one.
A lot of people don't talk about that. So how do they talk about them as a father, as a mother? Those things, if you're not hearing those, if you're not hearing about the life behind the what's put on social media, just be careful. As somebody who has spent a lot of money on those things, oh boy, oh boy,
Cautionary tale.
a year later, you're gonna go, well, something's missing here, and I gotta go learn some other things, you know? So anyway, I went on a
No.
massive tangent there. Hopefully
It's all right. No, this is what a podcast is for. But I will say, because we've been talking, you and I could talk all day. But thank you so much for just such an enlight. We went in so many directions. I said I could talk to you all day, and I love just uh finding, similar. Like every time you were saying something, I'm like nodding, and it's just very, very comforting being around another fellow human being that wants to grow and is passionate about it as I am. So. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it, Caleb.
thanks for having me.
Of course. And as usual, everybody, you can find the Feeling and Healing podcast on YouTube as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify.